Hey there everyone, this is Justin here. Today I wanted to talk about something that is very personal to me and I know is very personal for a lot of people, and something that I know a lot of people struggle with around this time of year, the winter months. And the issue I'm referring to is depression. Now, depression affects people in many different ways. Depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain that causes you to feel depressed. Now, the two factors I know that seem to have caused depression are it's genetic or a hostile living situation. What I'm going to tell you today is I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got depressed and just some things I do to deal with it and how it affects me. So, I can remember being depressed as far back as 4. And, well, as a child I didn't really know what was wrong with me. Looking back on it, I know exactly why I got depressed. My dad was a narcissist. And what that basically meant was that he could do no wrong, everybody else was at fault. And so living with my dad was like walking on eggshells. He blamed me and my mom and my sister for all the problems that were going on in his life. And no matter what you said to him, he'd get upset. When you're a child, it's rough, because when you're a child, all you want to do is make your parents proud. You want them to love you, you want them to accept you. And when no matter what you do, you're always going to be a screw-up that detrimented their happiness, how else are you supposed to feel? And, it only got worse. I got bullied a lot. I wasn't like most boys growing up. Most boys, when I was growing up, they like to ride bikes, they like to skateboard, they like to play sports, and none of that stuff interested me. And that's okay. But unfortunately, that made me a target for a lot of bullying, because see, I liked comic books, I liked animation, I liked video games, I liked to read. And that, like I said, that made me a target for a lot of bullying. And because I was different, I personally feel that a lot of my teachers didn't know how to handle something like that. And I feel like they got very frustrated and impatient with somebody like me because I wasn't like all the other boys in class. And that also affected me. Because while a teacher's not a parent, you want them to accept you. You want them to like you. You want them to, feel like, you mean something to the world. And, as a result, I didn't study, I didn't try hard in school, because I figured, hey, everybody else thinks I'm an idiot, so why should I even waste my time and energy trying hard? And that made the depression even worse. I think when I was about 9, I started taking Zoloft. And personally, I don't feel like it really did anything for me. So then I went off that for a little bit. Say maybe when I was about 13 or 14. And the funny thing for me is I actually felt better when I was off the medicine. And then a little later, I think maybe when I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school, I was on, I believe the medicine was Lexapro. And that did nothing for me. Quite frankly, I feel like that medicine made me angry. Now that could have been a mix of being a teenager and the antidepressants, but I noticed when I stopped taking the medicine that the anger issues went away. So I'm not saying you should never take medicine, but I will go ahead and tell you this. Do not ever quit the medicine cold turkey. Always, listen to your doctor. Let them guide you on what step to take when you don't want to be on medicine anymore. Maybe they even may say don't take the medicine anymore. Earlier, depression affects people in many different ways. I mean, it can be something as little as, you stayed up all night studying for a test and you got an F. It can be anything. I mean, for me, I think where a lot of my depression comes from is relationships, and I'm not even referring to male-female relationships. I'm talking about all of them. As I got older, as I started going into middle school and high school, the bullying was still there, but sometimes it wasn't as direct. I mean, yeah, there were people that clearly wanted me to know they did not like me. But then there were a lot of other people that they heard I was the weird kid everybody liked to mess with, so they acted like my friends. And then later I find out the hard way that they didn't want to be my friends at all. They just stalked me and wanted to tell everyone how weird I was. So I found out I didn't have a friend at all. It was just a collected effort to make me a dumbass. And it was especially common with the boys, so as a result, I quite frankly find it hard to trust people, especially men. And of course, my dad's definitely a factor in the not trusting men part. And some other things, like you go up to someone and you ask them out, don't get me wrong, most of the time I would say you're gonna get rejected more than you're gonna get accepted. And whenever I get rejected, I take it probably a little harder than, most people would or should. And by take it hard, I mean it lingers in my brain for a week, and then I start saying, I'm never gonna find anybody. I'm never gonna meet a nice girl. Why should I waste my time trying to talk to anybody? In fact, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of feeling like that lately. And it sucks because I don't think I'm a bad individual. I know this would be up to everybody else. Beauty's in the eyes of the beholder, but I don't think I'm a bad looking individual. But when I get rejected, I almost think, oh my god, what is wrong with me? What can I do to maybe win some nice girl's heart? And even though I don't want to change for anybody, I wouldn't ask anyone to change for me. It all boils down to not because you got rejected, but is there something wrong with me? So, I mean, it affects everyone differently. One of the things that I've done to deal with other stressful situations or depressing situations, I tried to learn the source. Like with the bullies, I learned that most of the time they lash out and belittle you is because they're insecure about themselves. Or as far as being bullied in school, you might find out that one of their parents abuses them at home and that they're just lashing out at you. And I'm not saying that makes that okay, but I found once I learned the source of all this aggression towards me, it made things a little easier. And, knowing to pick your battles is definitely something. And by that I mean, since I mentioned bullying, you gotta ask yourself, is this person really worth it? Or can I just, walk away and be the bigger person? Now, standing up for myself is something I still really struggle with because you know, I was raised with abusive behavior from my dad. You know, I thought that kind of behavior was normal, and plus having my self-confidence knocked down to an all-time low. I thought, you know, why should I stand up for myself? They're probably right. That many people couldn't be wrong in saying I'm a bad person. But you know what? They were wrong. And it took me years to be able to accept that about myself. You know, never ever feel that you're not stupid. I mean, everything, Jew Wario said this. He said that, you know, your thoughts are what make you uniquely you. And he's so right. You know, don't ever feel that you're not good enough. And I know that is really easy for me to say, but quite frankly it's not. It took me a long time to learn how to accept myself. You know, a lot of what brought me back to where I'm at now, you know, I went to many different therapists. I think the first time I ever saw a therapist, I was probably about 9 or 10. And you know, as a child, I didn't really understand what was going on. I used to just wonder, why am I here? You know, it's just an adult that's gonna tell me to stop seeking attention or stop overreacting to everything. But you know, I learned now that they really did want to help me. Now, I found a therapist that I've been seeing on and off since I was 14. I don't see him as much now. I see him about once a year now, but he has really helped me out. And he always knows just what to say, what direction to point me in. And when I talk to a lot of people who have depression, their thing seems to be, you know, why do I need to tell this person my problems? They don't understand. Well, trust me. Always talk to somebody, you know, get help. Don't ever feel like you're going to be a burden to somebody. Because if someone cares about you, they will listen. And they will try to help you. I really hope that this video will help some of you out. And you know, oh, another tactic I do, every time I get a birthday card or a Christmas card from someone, if they wrote a message in there, you know, a really positive message about how they're happy to know me, I keep it. And then whenever I feel like I'm not good enough, I go back and read it. This video, as you can probably tell, or maybe not, was not scripted. I want to, because this is such a serious issue, I wanted this all to be from in here. So I want you guys to know that I really hope I help some of you, and I hope I help some of you understand this a little better. Before I go, I want to tell you guys something. You watching this video, I care about you. And you do mean something to somebody. So remember that. I believe in you. Take care.